how do you deal with information overload? We are constantly bombarded with information about all kinds of things and from various sources. And at times, we need information to make well-informed decisions. And at other times, maybe we're just kind of curious about what's out there. And then there are times where it just feels overwhelming. And so, how do we begin to choose what is worth listening to? And that question, right? Sometimes it's associated with our values, our priorities. Sometimes it's associated with, well, that sounds easy. Or it goes to, well, that's what I want to hear. And sometimes it's like, no, I really want to level up in life. And so how do we begin to decide what is worth listening to? Well, Jesus gives us a little bit of help in this when he starts speaking to those around him in a parable, which is like a riddle, a story that challenges us and helps us to question things around, all right, what does it really mean to be connected to God? And so in Luke 8, 4 through 5a, which is just the very beginning of it, it says, when a great crowd was gathering and people were coming to Jesus from one city after another, he spoke to them in a parable. A farmer went out to scatter his seed. Plenty of people are ready to scatter their seed. All of us, right? We are scattering that seed of information in some way, somehow, every time we post, anytime we are talking online, or even when we are in person. And so to begin to think about, all right, if that's kind of what we are doing, then who do we decide to listen to? Like, who do we make time for? And this is the part where we kind of have to get honest. We have to get some self-awareness. And honesty is actually considered a practice of discipleship, a practice of following Jesus. And so part of being honest is we have to get honest with ourselves. Like, who are we listening to and why? And does it make us more anxious or angry? Does it just tell us what we want to hear? We kind of have to ask that and explore and take the time to understand who and what we are listening to and why we say that we value that, why we allow that to consume our time, and why we dismiss other things. And then we have to be honest about, all right, is anything we are listening to connected to God's love, God's goodness, God's peace, God's healing, God's encouragement? What are we listening to that actually can build others up, build ourselves up, and create a better community, create better lives? Or are we listening to things that just tear everyone apart? And so, what are the things we need to think are worthy of listening to, of allowing to take our time? That is the question for us today as we explore and try to feel like, man, I can't take any more information. Too much information overload. All right, well, who am I going to start listening to that's connected to God's way of love and peace, of thriving? Have a good one.